So, if you don't know by now, today the Jordan 5 Grapes dropped, and it looks like they pretty much sold out, at least in bigger sizes online. So, I guess it's pretty much, I guess we could say, it's fair to say that the Jordan 5 Grapes, they sold out online. But the question I want to ask is, who cares? So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to drop this, the dopest intro you ever seen in your life, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to clarify exactly what I'm talking about.
OG Trap Jordan, OG Trap Jordan, the other sneaker YouTubers, the hell are boring. OG Trap Jordan, OG Trap Jordan, I got sneakers rated and pouring.
What up, YouTube? OG Trap Jordan, back with another one. And as you can see, I changed my shirt. I had to wear that shirt because if you know my channel, that's part of that intro, that infamous intro that I have on my channel. So it's Grape 5 Day, and you see me in my intro. I wore the old pair, this old busted pair of grapes. When I made that intro, they weren't busted, but they are cooked now. So thankfully, your boy got up today, jumped on the app. Everybody in the house jumped on the app and tried to hit, and I was the only one that had success, so I got a W. Congratulations to everybody else who got their W today. This was a sought after shoe. Before I start talking about that, I want to say that I did do a podcast today with my boy AC Restorations and a couple of his friends over there, and we had a pretty good time, so you can go check that out. We were kind of talking about releases upcoming. I think we talked a little bit about these, and it was a pretty good podcast. So it's AC Restorations, AC Sneaker Restorations, actually. Go check that out, and then let's get into what we came for. We came for these Grape 5s, and it looks like they pretty much, for the most part, sold out online as far as big sizes go. So I don't know what they're doing in the stores. I haven't checked it out. I'm sure it all depends on where you live, but these were pretty much what I predicted. They were sold out, and I want to know, I got a question to ask you guys about that. Does it matter? Who cares if these shoes sold out? This is a shoe we haven't seen in a long time, and besides the Fresh Prince rendition that came out about, I'd say 5 or 6 years ago, that was basically a Grape 5 with no holes for the laces. A lot of people were punching holes in those. Besides those, we hadn't seen an actual OG rendition of these with the Nike Air on the butt crack. As you see, my last version has the Jumpman. We haven't seen that version since what? I don't know. When did these come out? 2014, something like that. So this, and then now we got those fire red 5s coming up soon, and that's going to be another one. I think between this one and that one, besides any collabs coming up, I do think that after these 5s, I don't think it's going to be a lot of sellouts unless they're just everything's super limited like a lot of shoes have been. But I do think that some of these GRs coming out are going to be a little more easier to get. But that brings me back to my question. So these sold out, right? Who cares? I don't. I want to know if you guys care, because it seems like that seems to be something that a lot of the more modern, newer, younger sneakerheads are on. If the shoe is a quote-unquote brick, they're not going to go after it. Now, I talked about this in my channel a little bit before, but I want to kind of go over that again. A couple people had mentioned, oh yeah, whenever I want a shoe, they make it super limited, and then when I don't want a shoe, there's plenty pairs, and they're everywhere. And I've spoke on this in another video, and I said it before, and I'll probably say it again, but I think to the contrary of that belief, I don't think that's really what it is. I think it is when they're limited and people are hyping these shoes up and saying they're scarce, that's when everybody goes after them. And I'm kind of really curious about that type of mentality and that psychology and why that is. And I think I have answers on that. And it basically is, we want what we can't have, and we don't always want what everybody has. I mean, you look at gold, you look at certain watches, you look at other designer products, the more limited it is, the more sought after it is. Nobody wants to drive the same car. Nobody wants the same girlfriend that everybody's had. No lady wants to be with the guy who is basically what they want to call community D. We want rarity. We want things that we can't get. We want things that perceive to have value because they're hard to get. And me personally, I'm kind of like that too, myself. But on the other hand, at the same time, this is such a classic that I don't know. You guys tell me, if this would have been sitting in stores or sitting around and easy to get, how many of you actually would have went out and copped these? Because me, I personally think that yes, I definitely would have went out and I would have copped these. And that's just how I am. And that's because to me, this brings me back to my childhood. This reminds me of watching The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and a whole lot of other things. It just brings me back to that nostalgia of when I was a kid. But I'm an OG, and a lot of people aren't as old as me. A lot of sneakerheads these days are a lot younger than me, but it does kind of seem like the OGs. I mean, it's the 40th anniversary of Jordan Brand, and the OGs are making a comeback. So who knows how true that whole sentiment is that everybody says that nobody really cares about the OGs no more. Maybe that's not true. Maybe it's the nostalgia. Maybe it's the 40th anniversary. Or maybe it's just the fact that they're limited that makes you want these. Maybe it's the fact that there's resale value on a lot of these shoes. I don't know what the resale value is on the Grape 5s. Haven't checked, and I don't care. And that's just my opinion on the whole thing. I don't care if these have resale value. I don't care if they're sitting. I don't care if they're bricks. They did sell out like I predicted, like a lot of people did, but I wasn't trying to pump these up, and I don't resell. I wasn't trying to do like a lot of YouTubers do, and they pump up these GRs and then they turn around and they're selling them early. We know how that goes. But for me, it's partially the nostalgic value, and it's a clean colorway. It's not easy to match. It's a really hard shoe to find something to wear with, but when you can and you can pull it off, it works well. And it has a lot of that old school late 80s, early 90s vibes, and it's a classic. And I'm really glad to see a lot of the classics coming back this year. And like earlier we had the black metallic 5s. We've had a lot of classics drop this year. We got some more classics coming out. I'm really curious to see what's going to happen for the rest of the year. I'm really happy with this drop because I got up this morning, the whole family tried to hit on these shoes, and I was the only one that was lucky enough to hit. I know there was probably some L's out there, so to the ones that did hit, congratulations. And if you didn't, don't give up hope. I'd go check my stores. If you haven't already, get out there and check them out. And go, and where I'm at, it's after 5 o'clock. Sometimes some stores it's the next day. I go in and I grab. There's probably going to be some late shipments, and there's definitely going to be some restocks on these shoes. But this is a classic, and it did what I thought it would do. But you guys let me know. Does it matter if these are sitting around? Would you still have copped or not? I want to know in the comments. I want to know honest opinions on that. Do you think that these sold just because they were supposedly scarce, supposedly limited? Or did they sell out because it's a classic? I want to know. Like I said, they were on the Fresh Prince used to wear them. Will Smith used to rock them. They were on Jordan's feet on the Wheaties box. So this is a classic. It's got a lot of nostalgic value, and it means a lot to the OGs. But I know there's a lot of young kids that probably grab these too. If you're a younger sneakerhead, did you grab them? But let me know, does it matter to you if they're sitting or not? Hit me in the comments. I really want to know. I'm really curious to know about this. But with that being said, if you like my content and you haven't already, go ahead, subscribe to the channel and hit that button so you can get notified every time I drop one of these bangers, and you can get some more of this good stuff in your life. And like I always say, support the culture and not the resellers. I'm OG Trap Jordan, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.